So this tip involves the index and the match function and using those functions to replace a VLOOKUP function. And why would you want to do this? There's 4 reasons. One is the VLOOKUP function is notorious for consuming a lot of processing capability of your computer. If you have a whole lot of VLOOKUPs, it's going to take a while for it to process. The index and the match function are a lot more efficient. The second reason is the VLOOKUP only looks to the right once you define your table array. The combination of the index and match function can look to the right or the left. Another reason is that the references are dynamic and you can insert or delete columns and rows in between the column that has the value you're looking up and the column that has the value you're retrieving. And finally, you can set up the index and match function so that you don't leave open the possibility of data being outside of the range of the table array. Because when that happens, your VLOOKUP function doesn't reference the correct data set. But when you use the index and match function, you can set them up so that it's impossible to have data outside of the region it's referenced because you're going to reference the entire column. So I'm going to build an index function, equal INDEX, and tabbing that into the cell. The index function's first argument is an array. I'm going to define the array to be that entire area. And then we have to define a row number, which I've got a value in cell C11. And optionally, we can define a column number, which I've got a value in C12. Control Enter, and the index function returns a 4, because in this table array, we're going to the second row, 1, 2, and the fourth column, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what happens if we don't define the column reference? I'm going to take the column reference off of there. It's an optional argument. Control Enter. I get an error, but that's because my table array is defined as 2 dimensions. If instead I define the table array to be 1 dimension, like column E, Control Enter, I'm going to be looking for the second row in column E, which there is no value, so let's make it the 7th row in column E. So now the index function is looking in the entire column E for the 7th row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it returns a 4. So what if we use the match function, instead of hard-coding the row reference, to match the value D in the lookup array, which is column E, match type of 0, an exact match, closing the match function, Control Enter, we get the value D returned. Because the index function is looking in column E, and it's looking for D, which is in the 6th column, and it's returning D. Well, that doesn't get us very far, does it? Okay, so now what if we reference, instead of column E, a different column, like column H? Control Enter. And it's returning an F. We've now constructed a structure that's replaced a VLOOKUP, because what we're doing is looking for the value D in column E, and we're returning the corresponding value on the same row in column H. So instead of column H, I could define it to be column B and look to the left. Control Enter, and it's going to return the value of A. So once again, we're looking for the value D in column E, and once we find that match, that determines the row number for the index function, and it's the 6th row in column B. So when you construct this, the first column referenced by the index function contains the value that you want to retrieve. And for the row number, you want to use the match function to match a value in another column. Like I said, the index and match function processes a lot quicker than the VLOOKUP function. It's impossible to put data outside of the lookup array because we've referenced the entire columns. And if you insert columns anywhere, it doesn't matter, because the index and match function follows the data around because it's referencing specific columns.